He's like, it's a cheat day and you have a cheat meal.
Cheat meal plus high calories.
Yeah. No, because I can't, not for me. For a lot of people, I let them do that, but it's not for building muscle or anything. I do that for people that need to mentally relax.
Is eating steak in a calorie deficit a good source of protein for when losing weight but trying to maintain muscle? Mike, did you train twice a day for best results?
In 77, Robbie won his class at the Mr. Olympia, and Frank won his class at the Mr. Olympia, and then they compete against each other, and on the overall. We just got back from meeting with the legend himself, Frank Zane, and what we're going to do next week is we're going to have I'm going to get Frank and we're going to get Robbie Robinson together. How cool is that? How much do you guys like that idea? A couple legends together, and so I'm going to sit down with both of those guys next week and just kind of go over somebody that went through the whole process of being a couple of the greatest. I don't know if you guys know the breakdown of the competition with those two, but in 77, Robbie won his class at the Mr. Olympia, and Frank won his class at the Mr. Olympia, and then they competed against each other, and on the overall, Frank Zane won the Mr. Olympia in 1977. Back then it was height-based, or it was over 200, under 200. I think it was one of those. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
So it was a pretty cool thing.
It used to be tall, right?
Taller.
Tall and like short.
I guess it wasn't. Because, I don't know. Maybe one of you guys, we'll check the internet. But it's either weight or it was height.
It was both, I think. At one point
it was both. All right. So that was cool. I just think it was a cool conversation. And those guys are great friends today. And we will make that happen next week for those guys to sit down. One great thing I think about both of these guys is just any kind of question you have. They both started as teenagers. Robbie even younger than that, but they were both already, by the time they were 20, were already at such a different level, which is the coolest thing for me to be around, because also now I can take insight on what they did right, what they may have changed as they came out of their competition years and started working more for longevity. And that helps me out for the next 20, 30 years of my life. And so maybe some of you are in that point going, hey, I want to compete. Well, they can tell you how to compete. They're the top of the field. They can tell you how to compete better than anybody else can tell you to compete, especially, I think, in today's day and age, because they separated themselves, where today it doesn't seem like a lot of separation amongst a lot of the elites. It seems like a lot of similarities.
74 to 79. They did heavyweight and then lightweight.
Is it over 200 and under 200?
Yeah. From 74 to 79.
74 to 79, they did that.
Uh-huh.
Those are his years.
Yeah.
And then before 74 was what? One class?
I don't know.
Because 75 was Franco won his class, Arnold won his tall, the heavy.
Yeah.
And then on the overall, he beat him.
There was a tall also at one point. Mike, do you personally like to incorporate a free meal per week during off season, or prefer to climb calories up?
Well, there's never a free meal, so I don't know what that actually means. Are you saying that you can just have whatever? Your nutrition plan is what it is. It's whatever you set it up as. This might be a new thing, or you ever heard of that? A free meal?
Never.
Is that a daily thing also, or are you saying like a free day, like a cheat day?
I think the cheat
No,
meal.
I think a free meal, what it's saying is everything's different. But when you eat celery and it's like no calories or whatever, it's just water, like that's a free meal?
No. That's
No?
just straight up.
No, they don't mean that.
That's like Mike's diet plan, but on Thursdays he has KFC.
Exactly.
Oh.
So sure.
Yeah, fine. This one doesn't count.
But the second part of your stuff, or do you like just during off season to prefer to climb calories? Yeah, the calories up and the calories down is, calories up and calories down is obviously when you're off season, you're taking them up and you continuously try to build them up. So that's how I do it, and that's a great way to do it, kiddo. So great question on that. And then obviously as you're cutting up, you just go in reverse, taking it down slowly as you go. I think I may understand what you mean by a free meal.
Yeah.
It's like it's a
Cheat
cheat
meal.
day and you have a cheat meal.
Cheat meal plus high calories.
Yeah. No, because it's then I can't not for me. For a lot of people, I let them do that, but it's not for building muscle or anything. I do that for people that need to mentally relax and have that moment of fun. That way they can at least stay true to it during the week. Like The Rock does that. So The Rock, you see how he trains so hard during the week, and then on the weekend, on Sunday, he has his cheat meal or cheat day, and he kind of does what he wants. And so that, again, I think, because I can't think of anybody that's busier than The Rock. And so that's him to help him mentally and his body feed. And he works with Hani, and Hani's great. So, yeah, great question, kiddo.
Did you see the one right before that one?
No, go for it.
Is eating steak in a calorie deficit a good source of protein for when losing weight but trying to maintain the muscle?
Yeah, I think steak is great. I think steak is incredibly a great protein source.
Yeah.
As long as you're in your deficit, your proteins, can be what they need to be. And what's great about steak is because it's a dense, high-calorie meal or protein, if it starts to slow down and you don't keep tightening up, you can always change it to a different protein, but the same ounces, and boom, you just cut calories and you're in a deficit again. So it's a great thing. Yeah, I always try to keep those kind of meats in there at the beginning of my cuts. And then we did this last time. We did the Blitz and stuff. We kept the Piedmontese filet in there because it was low fat. There's no fat. Yeah.
Does training your abs also make your waist bigger, or is that a myth?
If you're building muscle and you're training muscle, it gets bigger. But yeah, if you train your abs, they get bigger. I would overtrain the abs when you're in a deficit, is what I would do if you want to get a smaller waist. That way you're already tightening up. You're in a deficit. You're overtraining the abs. That means they don't have time to recover, and you're just toning them at that point. That's how I do it. Good question, though. But yeah.
Mike, should you train twice a day for best results?
Yeah, everything works for a time. I do like training twice a week when I start the cutting prior to adding in cardio. So I would do that in the mix. And off season, you're training. You try to train as least as possible in the off season.
What?
You said twice a week.
Did I say twice a week?
Yeah.
Twice a day. I meant.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Just making sure.
Yeah. And that's a great method. I wouldn't do it on the off season like a lot because you want to try to do less training. You want to train maybe 5 days a week in the off season, and you could even get it like to 4 days if you're going to split up your biceps and triceps for a couple other body parts. Try to get more rest days. But yeah, when you start amping it up and start getting crazy, it's a great one. But anything for 3 months. I would try any program for 3 months, and then you'll know if it's working, if it worked, and then what you switch up on.